What did they look like? Were they really in bad shape?
They didn't look like they were really beat up that bad, but of course they were thin. And they didn't get fed the best food and stuff. But then we took them down to Tokyo and put them on a hospital ship down there.
Now let me think. Was there a lot of celebrations and parties going on the ship?
Well, they didn't do a whole lot of partying and everything. They took care of their medical needs and stuff like that and fed them and all. It was a party, but it wasn't a wild party like it,
Yeah.
Everything. But
so at that point, was the war over? At that point?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Japanese had surrendered.
Right.
So we went to Tokyo and spent a few days in Tokyo. We did get to go on Liberty in Tokyo. And
what was that like?
Well, it amazed me. Because the only thing that looked to me like was over 10 feet high was made out of concrete or steel or something. Everything else was burned. They'd been doing all that incendiary bombing and stuff. Right. But we got Liberty and...
How many days Liberty did you say you...
we just got to go for the day and come back, and then we got another day. But it told us, we were talking about eating while we was on Liberty, and they told us the only place they would suggest we'd eat would be the Imperial Palace, which they'd taken over for headquarters. So we were on Liberty, and all us enlisted men, we walked up there, and there's signs all around that says, field grade officers and above, So I asked the guy, I said, how do you get in here? And he said, walk in like you know what you're doing. So we walked in and got inside, and there's this guy standing by the door at the dining room. And he said, you guys want to eat? And we said, yes. That's why we came here. He called a waiter over there and said, change that part from 1 to 5, And we
and this
right
is inside the Imperial Palace.
Right.
What was
down,
that like?
Down the other hallway, down there was officers as long as you could see ways to get in. I'm surprised we didn't get thrown out. But
so you walked in like you knew what you were doing?
Right.
That's key. You walk in like you know what you're doing. No one's going to question you.
So it was an experience eating. What
was the palace like? I mean,
well, very ornate building and everything, but of course they had.
Now, a young man from Jackson, Tennessee, that must have been quite an experience.
You never dreamed that you'd be in the Imperial Palace in Japan.
I would think not. That's
a guy who probably when the war started and they said Pearl Harbor had been bombed, you thought, where the heck is Pearl Harbor? You never heard of it, nothing. Most of it probably hadn't been much more than 50 miles away from home.
That's right. So when Pearl Harbor was bombed, you were what, 15 or 16?
Yeah.
And we're kind of jumping back and forth, but do you remember hearing the news about that?
Well, my grandparents lived out from Morton, Tennessee, and we had gone up there. I don't know whether it was somebody's birthday or what, but we were having dinner at my grandparents' house in this little town of Mount Peel, which is 7 miles out from Morton. I had gone into town with the truck we used at the store in Union City to pick my brother up. He was going to UT Martin, played football up there. And incidentally, guys, he played six-man football up there then.
Six-man?
They didn't have enough students to play 11-man football.
That's fun.
And there was a conference up there of smaller colleges that played six-man football. Anyway, I went in to see if he wanted to come out for dinner, and hens and some of the guys had something planned, so I left and come back out to Mount Peel. And going down the gravel road and everything then, and all of a sudden the truck stopped. And I couldn't get it to start. And I worked and tried to get it to start, and finally I went to a house and used a phone and called up to the Mount Peel and got my sister to come down, and we towed the truck back up to Mount Peel. Well, anyway, we towed it back eventually into Union City, which is about 12 miles, and discovered it was out of gas. Had never dreamed of being out of gas because I'd filled it up Saturday night.
You've just been driving around a lot.
Right. And driving around, somebody probably stole it out of it sometime Saturday night, right? But that's where I was when I heard about Pearl Harbor.
And was your brother already in the Navy at that point?
Yeah, no, he was in college. He and
Oh, that's
About
right.
five others. This was in December. I guess in January, there's 5 or 6 of the football players and other guys all went and joined the Navy. And that's how I knew about the Navy and everything.
And he survived the Navy? He survived the war?
Yeah. He never got any battle stuff. He was an aviation machinist mate, and he was stationed at Esperita down there. And when they got back from there, he was in Miami, Florida, with I think he was the engineer on a B-24, whatever the Navy called them then.
All right, so I'm jumping back forward. Now,
Okay.
I'm gonna jump way back, way to when now the war is over, and you were on your ship when you heard the news that the war was over.
Right.
Was that a party then?
Yeah. Everybody celebrated a little bit and everything.
Yeah. And so you
being an aviation storekeeper, I had all the supplies for the squadron and everything. And I would have probably gotten court-martialed for that and everything, but I had a storeroom full of 180 proof pure grain alcohol, which was used for torpedo fuel.
Oh, yeah, right.
And so we tapped out a little bit to celebrate.
Well, you weren't going to need it anymore for the torpedoes, right? The war's over.
But they didn't look at it that way.
No, I guess they didn't.
They didn't want a bunch of drunks to run around on the ship.
Right.
But that was the advantage of being in the supply department. We were friends with the cooks and stuff, so very seldom did us aviation storekeepers eat in the mess hall. We had hot plates and stuff in the big storeroom down front.
That's nice.
And,
there's perks to that.
Right.
So so now you must have been having a sigh of relief because now you knew you were going to survive the war.
Right.
Right.
So now it was just waiting.
Did you ever feel when you were in the middle of it that, oh my, I may not survive this? Did you ever have that feeling?
There was always the thought, that you could get torpedoed, kamikaze get you or something, and you might not survive. But I don't think I really ever gave a thought of dying aboard ship. There's always that possibility, but no more so than it is now.
No, that's true.
Because they froze us in. They had points to get out, but they froze us in to take inventory and see what all was left over.
Were you mad about that?
Well, they had points you could get out, and I had gotten married by then, and I was ready to go back to Tennessee and and spend time with my wife and everything. In fact, they offered me an increase in rates and stuff if I'd stay aboard. And I got a commander over at Alameda that had been aboard ship, and I had been at Alameda with that prior squadron, VC-65. So I got him to get somebody that wanted to go to sea and swap with me, and I spent the rest of my Navy career in Alameda. I got my discharge at, I think they called it Shoemaker then. I can't find it on the map anymore, but it was a big Navy base out there then.
It may have closed, I don't know.
Yeah.
So now you've got your discharge papers.
Yeah.
You're done. And so you get on a train to come back to Tennessee?
No, we went back to L.A. and got Loren's belongings and all that and packed them up and sent it back to Tennessee. And we flew back to Memphis, and they met us at the airport in Memphis. But we flew in. Everything was DC-4s, and it flew from L.A. to Tucson to El Paso to Dallas to Little Rock to Memphis.
So you're hopping across,
Took forever to get home.
Dropping people off, probably.
Yeah.
And was that the first time you had been on an airplane, or did you get a chance to fly with the squadron?
I had flown some with the squadron out of Alameda. And, early on, we had dive bombers in the crew, in the group. And they'd let you ride with them sometime when they're going out to do some practice shooting or something.
That must have been
fun. And that's
huh?
a thrilling experience to peel off and go down, and you feel like a feather, and all of a sudden you feel like you're going through the bottom of the plane, and then you're floating again, going back up.
So those dive bombers, were they just two-man crew?
Yeah.
Pilot, navigator kind of thing?
Pilot and gunner, I think, in the back.
Pilot and gunner. So you had the gunner seat?
But outside that, did a little flying on TBMs, fly back in and pick up supplies. We was out in the desert. one place we stopped was in Hopeville, California, which was in the middle of the desert, and was training them to do night bombing. That's up in Salton Sea, right up the way there. And we spent about 2 weeks out there. You go to a base and they teach them how to skip bomb and stuff, and then we go to another base and they teach them something else, you know.
Yeah, right.
And did that till we went aboard ship.
Wow, you had a eventful 3 years, 9 months?
3 years, 6 days, 7 hours, 21 minutes.
That cracks me up. Yeah, I was counting down the days when I got out too.
Yeah.
So that was very eventful. So you went at 17 and you got out at 20, right? You were 20, and so you finally get back to Jackson, Tennessee. And what was that homecoming like?
First, we came back. By the time we got back, most of them had moved everything to Union City. First took her back to really Union City. And
Union City.
Yeah. And that really was, she thought she'd gone to the other world. It was, Union City is a nice town, and those little ladies up there were trying to be real nice to her, and she thought it was being nosy. You know, she wasn't used to that southern hospitality. But anyway.
Tell me your wife's name again. I don't recall.
Her name?
Yes.
Lorraine.
Lorraine, okay.
Lorene. That's
And did she eventually settle in?
We were expecting by then, and they didn't have a hospital in Union City. They had clinics, and she didn't want to have that baby in a clinic, you know. So we went back to Jackson, and the home that I grew up in, we had been made into apartments, and we had one of the apartments there. So I just spent about a year or so working with the State Highway Department as a junior engineer to learn to do the instrumental stuff and laying out highways and stuff. But I ended up, I had some friends that offered me a job in West Memphis, Arkansas, running a supermarket over there. So we went to West Memphis. Oldest son, when he was born, he had a little club foot, and we was having to bring him to Campbell's Clinic in Memphis. And we had to do that, so it made it a lot easier than just live in West Memphis across the river.
Right.
And we did that. And I went to work for Libby McDeal and Libby, which is a canned goods company, and spent, I guess, about 4 years with them. I ended up as division manager for the frozen food department out of Memphis. And then I started a food brokerage business, and ended up doing food brokering for about 38 years, I guess.
No kidding. Right. What is food brokering? I don't even know.
We represented about 100 different manufacturers and sold to the wholesale grocers and the chains. Instead of the manufacturer and have a salesman, each one of them have a salesman in the town, they appointed a food broker, and we did all the legwork and everything. We had retail people and
So how do you think your wartime experience helped or hurt you later in life as you
it made me grow up fast. And
tell me more about that.
Even though these guys here probably wouldn't want to do it, but I really think that kids coming out of high school ought to serve 2 years in the military, and they grow up fast, and they wouldn't be in all the trouble they're getting into now most of the time.
That's true. Right. It certainly helped me. Yeah. So, thinking back to all your time in the Navy, what is like the one experience or one thing that you learned that you like to tell young people about, or that you think is important to kind of pass on?
Well, the biggest thing, you learn to get along with people, and get along with every kind of type people in the service, and you learn how to deal with all different ones, and how to handle the responsibilities. And if somebody's giving you orders in the Navy, you learn how to take the orders and live with it and everything.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience for me later on in life, is learning, the biggest thing, learn how to deal with people. And,
that's right, right. Because in some Jackson or Union, that's a small community, small group of people. And you probably met lots of different types of people in the service. You mentioned earlier that you've had reunions from time to time. Do are you still in contact with any of the?
We still have a reunion. In fact, in October, the Gamer Bay and the Kitkin Bay is having a combined reunion in Norfolk. And then this past year, we had 11 ships in San Diego was involved, but I was involved with a group, and I couldn't make that trip. One of the things I've done since I've been out and got involved in back in 2009 is a group called Forever Young Senior Wish, Senior Veterans Wish. And what we do, we take World War II vets back to where they fought.
Wow.
And we do it with fundraising. It don't cost a veteran anything to go. We pay all the expenses. We take them to Washington, D.C. to see the World War II Memorial and all this stuff in Washington. That's a 5-day trip. And then in September, we took 15 to Belgium that fought in the Battle of the Bulge.
And you had a chance to go with them on that?
I go with them and help out. Most of these guys now are in their middle 90s.
Right.
So some of them in wheelchairs, you push wheelchairs and stuff and help out. I'm on the board of directors of Forever Young, so.
Well, you look great. How did you stay forever young?
Well, I keep moving and stay active all the time. I work at a golf course and play a lot of golf, and always have, I play a lot of golf in business and stay very active and everything, I guess.
Well, we're going to wrap up, and unless there's anything else that comes to mind, is there anything that comes to mind about an important part of your life in the World War II or otherwise?
Well, of course, getting married, you grow up again there. I mean, you got responsibilities, especially with kids and everything. And I have 2 sons that I'm very thankful for, and they have been good kids, and neither one of them have been in any real trouble. Both of them have been very successful. Both of them, they weren't interested in the food business, so I told them if they wanted to be in it, I'd be glad to have them in the business, but I wanted them to do what they want to do, because it's hard enough to make a living when they're happy at it, you know.
That's true.
And they both end up in the film business and doing well. One of them was a producer director for years, made TV commercials. And he decided he wanted to teach, and he went back to school and got his master's and started teaching communication and speech. And he's back in Memphis, and he teaches at 2 colleges there. And of course, the other boy was on Jack Jr., which was the second one. And the reason he got to be Jack Jr., he was supposed to be in Suzanne, because back then they didn't tell you whether it was a boy or girl before, you know.
You had to come up with another name. Huh?
So finally they told Lorraine to name his kid so he can take him home. You know. So she named her Jack Jr., but he's the one that's an art director. He's on a movie, he's either the production designer or art director, so he's
fascinating.
Done very well out there.
Well, that's amazing. You are an amazing man. Mm-hmm. Thank you for your service in World War II and otherwise. It's been an honor to talk to you about it. Well,
one of the greatest things I've done, a rewarding thing, is to take these guys back to where they fought. About 4 weeks ago, we just got back from Italy. We took 16 over there that landed on the beaches at Anzio and Cassino. And then in September, we took 15 to Belgium. We had 2 trips to Belgium, and in June took 19 to Normandy that landed on the beaches in Normandy.
What's it like standing there watching these men re-experience that part of their life?
Well, one of the great things about it is that a lot of the guys have never told anybody what happened to them. They felt like it was their fault, their buddy got killed or something. We get back on the trips, and we have a hospitality room at night, and we've been out going places during the day. We get them together at night, and they get to talking. And these guys,
I would love to be a fly on the wall for that.
You're welcome to come anytime you want to. We have the meeting the third Thursday of every month. We have a meeting of World War II vets at Germantown Baptist Church. It's not a church affiliated. They let us use their fellowship hall. And we'll have around 200 vets and some of their wives, their relatives come and everything. But as I said, on these trips, they hear these guys talking, and all of a sudden they realize that I'm not the only one who had this problem. So they begin to open up and talk about what happened to them. And it's like lifting a burden off of them, you know. So.
Well, what a wonderful gift to give them. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I was kind of sad in a way that they didn't have that 50 years ago.
Right.
You know, so but thank goodness they have it now.
Yeah.
So that's great.
One of the amazing experiences on the Belgium trip, we had two guys that found remnants of foxholes they dug 70 years ago.
What?
One of them got a duffel bag returned to him, and he lost 70 years ago.
How did that happen?
Guy that goes around the countryside over there hunting artifacts, and he was in the attic of this castle that had been used as headquarters. And he saw this duffel bag laying over in the corner, and he picked it up and said somebody had cut a couple of pieces out of it, but it had the guy's serial number and company number on it. So he researched it, and he found him in Corpus Christi, Texas. And he called him and told him, "I got your duffel bag, you know." And so he heard we were going, so we took him with us. I went over there, and the TV station and everything went with us, and they did a presentation giving his duffel bag back. Now, it didn't have clothes in it because he said it was so cold that he was using it to put up over his feet and legs to stay warm. And when he checked out, he had been in the hospital wing of this headquarters or something. And when he checked out, evidently he left it or lost it, one or the other. But it was amazing. He got it back after 70 years.
That's amazing. That's a great story.
Right.